Hello everyone, my name's Alex and I'm a PhD student funded by the Wellcome Centre for Cultures and Environments of Health, but based also at the European Centre for Environment and Human Health. And my research is very much focused on how we bring digital experiences of nature to people at home when they can't otherwise get outside, and how these might have an impact on well-being. And I'm just going to run through, give a very quick overview of my research over the last 3 years. So let's just start very briefly by acknowledging the sort of growing and increasingly robust evidence that demonstrates some of the impact that nature can have on our bodies and our minds. There's a decent body of evidence that shows that when people are stressed, spending time in natural environments can reduce some of the physiological responses to that stress, so reducing blood pressure, reducing heart rate, and stress hormones like cortisol, sort of facilitating recovery from stress. But we also see these really strong psychological responses. So people tend to have increases in positive emotions, decreases in negative emotions, and attentional resources increase. This ability for people to be able to undertake complex tasks when they spend time in nature compared to other environments, which are often urban environments. A large part of this evidence comes from using digital proxies of the natural world. So whether that's watching videos or listening to soundscapes, so much of this understanding stems from work in a laboratory setting. And my research is really trying to understand, okay, well, if we increase that immersion in these digital worlds through, say, VR, how might that impact people, and do we see the same kind of effects that we see out in the real world? Because of the pandemic, we weren't able to follow quite a hands-on route with the digital work that we're doing. So we moved from a focus on VR to more of a focus on the kind of encounters that people have much more typically at home. So for example, this is consuming natural history content, if you like, and watching this kind of thing on TV. So that's actually one of the stimuli and one of the experimental conditions for an experiment we recently ran. We ran that with the BBC, and I think this underlines the importance of the work that we're doing, because big media providers like the BBC are starting to think very much about how the natural history content that they produce may well, rather than just educate and entertain, actually have some of these well-being benefits. And this series here, Mindful Escapes, was a project that we were able to work on with the BBC, a collaboration with Headspace and Andy Puddicombe there, where they tried to put some of these ideas into practice, and we were able to underpin the program design with some of the sort of latest understanding in the field.
The Earth itself is a living, breathing organism.
So we've run a couple of large studies with the BBC. The first one really focused on sound and people's interpretation and responses to natural sounds. That was called Forest 404. It ran on BBC Radio 4 a couple of years ago now. You can find out a lot more about that at bbc.co.uk/forest. We also, earlier this year, ran an equally large study which try to understand really the way that natural history programs are created and crafted with music, as well as natural soundscapes and sort of evolutions through a typical day, how they impact people who view them. We had a huge amount of people take part in that, and that was a collaboration with BBC Music. You can find out a lot more about that at BBC Soundscapes for Wellbeing. And these kinds of studies are really resonating with people. So here's a bit of audience feedback from Soundscapes for Wellbeing from someone who got in touch to say that they're already using virtual nature at home. It's something they've been doing for quite some time, but they use computer games to do this because it helps them go for a walk. Otherwise they're stuck at home, and actually it's helped them to deal with loss of a dog, and actually they believe this can be really therapeutic. So The elephant in the room here is as well, if we're encouraging people to consume nature through digital means, are we disconnecting them further? And actually, I think that argument is kind of moot, because people are doing this stuff anyway already. They already use their devices in a multitude of ways to run their lives. And actually, there's already moves, much like the sort of thinking that the BBC is having. There's already moves from the private sector. Here's an app called Portal, who we're also working with, who are very much thinking about how they use this technology to bring experiences of nature to people and how they can optimize them to be therapeutic. So I'm going to stop there. I think I've already run over time. But if anyone's got any queries about the work that I'm doing, then please do get in touch. I've spent 18 months in my bedroom thinking about this stuff, and so I'd love to speak to anyone about it. Thank you.